What do you mean it can't be cured? Edwin repeated. Are you telling me that only that Rhys punk can cure my daughter's sickness? He furrowed his brows as the color drained from his face. You certainly need the right person for the right job, so we'll have to track him down no matter what it takes. The doctor confirmed. I can't believe this bastard. How dare he use such underhanded tactics? Edwin growled through gritted teeth as his eyes flashed with anger. What should we do now, Sir Hummer? Fletcher asked. They had failed to bribe Natasha, and Dresser was now in critical condition from getting beaten up. It seemed like both civilized and uncivilized methods had failed to work. Dustin seemed to be a Tom in their side lately. But most importantly, Tina's life was literally in that man's hands. So, even if they had any countermeasures up their sleeves, they were still afraid of making the first move. After remaining silent for a while, Edwin finally decided. Call that punk and get ready to negotiate with him. Yes, sir. Fletcher obliged. He then proceeded to hastily ask someone for Dustin's number. After dialing the number, he swiftly handed the phone over to Edwin. Hello, who is this? Dustin's voice came from the other end. Edwin Hummer speaking. Edwin greeted coldly while holding back his anger. Let me ask you one thing, kid. Did you harm my daughter in any way, or did you not? So it's Sir Hummer on the line. Well, if you're referring to the curse, then yes, they were from me, Dustin replied dryly. You got a lot of fucking nerve, boy. How dare you lay your hands on my daughter? Edwin roared while gnashing his teeth. Why don't ask your daughter about the things she's done? How would she have ended up like this if she hadn't pushed her weight around so much? Dustin retorted indolently. You're the last person I want to talk to about this right now. You'd better cure my daughter right this instant. You, Edwin ordered. What makes you think I should do everything you ask right away? Don't you think you're being a little too cocky right now? Dustin scoffed. So you want to bargain first, don't you? Fine, we can do that. As long as you cure my little girl, I promise not to hold you accountable for anything else in the future. Edwin barked. That's it? Dustin sneered in reply. I'll also lift the ban on the Nicholsons immediately so that the whole family can get back on track. I'm afraid you're still mistaken about what I truly want. I do not need these, Dustin replied. What do you want then? Edwin growled. It's simple. I just want your daughter to apologize to me, Dustin said. What? You want her to apologize to you? Edwin shrieked, his face turning cold in an instant. Is it unreasonable to ask for an apology from someone who assaulted you for no reason? Dustin asked rhetorically. Who do you think you are, kid? How dare you request that a Hummer apologize to you? What makes you think you deserve the honor? Edwin roared while burning with anger. While he did not intend to pursue the matter, which was already out of the reach of the law in the first place, he felt that this man was full of himself for thinking that the Hummers owed him an apology. If you refuse to give me an apology, I'll just save my breath then. However, you can't blame me for not reminding you that your daughter won't be able to hold on for much longer, Dustin said, then immediately hung up the phone after. Does this punk think that he can push me around? Edwin bellowed. Edwin was so furious, he almost smashed the phone in his hands onto the ground. Who did he think he was? Exactly? He was one of the mighty three, the richest man in his city, and was also known as an important figure in the underground world. Within his domain, it could be said that he was the one who called the shots and that he could get anything he asked for at the drop of a hat. He couldn't remember the last time he had been humiliated like this. What would happen to the Hummer's reputation if word got out that they visited the Nicholsons to offer an apology? Would they still have any dignity left after that? I feel it would be wiser to be the bigger person in this situation, Sir Hummer. We should agree to his terms first in order to save Ms. Hummer. Mr. Lawson advised from the side. If we agree to his terms now, won't any Tom, Dick, and Harry gain the right to shit and piss on the Hummer name from then on? Edwin snapped in a booming voice. This is just one way to slow him down, Sir Hummer. Once we manage to save Miss Hummer first, we can still take our time in thinking up ways to get back at that punk, Mr. Lawson suggested. Edwin fell silent after hearing that. His suggestion was reasonable, but the prospect of giving up the reputation of the Hummers to lower themselves to offer an apology to others was an unbearably uncomfortable thought to him. Dad, it hurts, it's so painful. Save me! Tina Hummer moaned profusely as she laid in bed. Looking at his daughter's pain-stricken face, Edwin took a deep breath and finally decided to settle on a compromise. He dialed Dustin's number once again and spat into the phone. I'll adhere to your terms, kid, but you'd better not play tricks with me. The apology has to be sincere. If you insist on acting like this, then we have nothing else to talk about, Dustin said indifferently. How dare you dash? Edwin stopped as the corner of his eye began to twitch. Fine, you win. I'll send someone over today at noon to give an apology in person. He roared while forcefully holding back his anger. I'll be waiting. Dustin replied. During noontime, inside a VIP ward in East Swinton Hospital, Dahlia had woken up a long time ago, and the redness and puffiness on her cheeks had already faded quite a bit. Her hands were still wrapped with bandages, so she was advised not to move around too much for the time being. When Dustin walked through the door with a fruit basket in hand, he noticed that members of the Nicholson family had gathered together and were discussing something. Even old Mr. Nicholson, who had been living in seclusion, had shown you up. The nerve of you to show your face here, Rhys. Do you have the slightest idea about the amount of damage you've caused us? Because of you, the Hummers banned us. Are you happy now that the Quine Group is on the brink of collapse? Florence yelled at him the moment she laid eyes on him. She went from her initial state of calm to jumping to her feet and spewing expletives. The others remained silent but eventually started donning indignant looks on their faces. Even Dahlia was frowning at him. She received news of the Nicholsons' ban from the Hummers the moment she woke up, and the reason for that was that Dustin had allegedly given Ms. Hummer a beating. Although she knew that she herself was the person he had done it for. But his help had ultimately sent the entire Nicholson family to the fiery depths of an inferno instead. All right, stop bickering already. We all know that Dustin did all that to stand up for Dahlia. While it was somewhat impulsive, I'd like to think that he did it with pure intentions in mind. Old Mr. Nicholson tried to calm everyone down. Are you honestly still speaking on his behalf when things have gotten to this stage, Dad? Do you only intend to stop when the family is in shambles? Florence said through gritted teeth. Don't worry, I've already taken care of the problem with the Hummers, Dustin spoke up calmly. What do you mean you've taken care of it? What's your solution? If you were that capable in the first place, would the Nicholsons still be banned by now? You'd better scram right now. I don't want to see your face anymore. Shoo! Florence screamed. In the middle of her rage, she grabbed the fruit basket from Dustin's hands and smashed it onto the ground.